Welcome to the Joy Unleashed Project, where we explore the art and science of living a vibrant, purposeful life after 45. I'm your host, Maddie Cummins, and I'm here to guide you through transformative conversations that will ignite your inner brilliance. In each episode, we'll dive deep into the transformation framework, sharing powerful stories, expert insights, and practical strategies that help dynamic women, just like you, embrace this exciting chapter of life. Whether you're navigating a teenager at home, an empty nest, caring for aging parents, or all of the above, or you're simply ready to prioritize your own joy, you're in the right place. Get ready to unlock new possibilities, build meaningful connections, and create the vibrant future you deserve. This is more than just a podcast. It's your invitation to join a community of bold women who are rewriting the rules of midlife. Let's unleash your joy together. Welcome back to the Joy Unleashed Project, where we explore the art and science of living a vibrant, purposeful life. I'm your host, Maddie Cummins, and today we're diving deep into something I know so many of you are feeling right now, that overwhelming sense that everything around us is spinning out of control. Whether it's the constant news cycle, personal challenges, work pressures, health concerns, or just the general chaos of modern life, it can really feel like the world is going to burn down around us. And for those of us navigating life's vibrant middle season, dealing with our own transitions while managing multiple responsibilities, this feeling can be absolutely suffocating. But here's what I want you to know. You have more power than you think. Today, we're going to talk about practical, science-backed strategies to find your calm in the storm and maintain your inner peace when everything feels like it's falling apart. So let's start with the truth. Feeling overwhelmed by the state of the world isn't a personal failing. Often we feel like we need to be focused only on our families and not worry about things we can't control. We have all these things that we hear, but the reality is our brains are designed to figure out where the threats are and to pay attention to them. It's a really human response, and it's how your brains are wired. We scan for threats, and when we're constantly bombarded with negative information, our nervous system stays in a state of high alert. But here's the thing. We can't control what's happening out there, but we absolutely can control what's happening in here. And that's where our power lies. Today, we're going to talk about some really practical strategies that you can use to be able to calm down your brain and calm down your nervous system. The first strategy I want to share is what I call the circle of influence practice. So if you imagine 3 circles, and if you're in a place where you can draw 3 circles. The innermost circle represents what you can directly control: your thoughts, your actions, your responses, your daily habits. The middle circle is what you can influence: your relationships, your immediate environment, your personal space. And then that outer circle is everything else. It's the news, politics, global events, and other people's choices. When you feel that anxiety rising and that stress coming up in your chest and that heaviness that you feel, you need to ask yourself, which circle am I focusing on right now? If you're spending mental energy on that outer circle, gently redirect it back to your inner circles, because those are the things that you can influence and you can control to some extent. This isn't about ignoring the world's problems. It's about being strategic with your emotional energy so you can actually make a positive impact where it matters the most. The second strategy we're going to talk about are micro moments of calm. When everything feels chaotic, we often think we need hours of meditation or stress release to find some peace. But research shows that even 30 minutes of intentional calm can reset your nervous system. Often my clients, and even myself, I have to talk this about myself too, is I don't do well with meditation. My brain is way too busy. I have never been really great at that. That is okay. And so it doesn't have to be a meditation per se. It could be guided meditation. It could be doing something that just grounds you out of your brain, whether that's thinking about positive things or writing down positive things. Meditation can look whatever it needs to look like for you. But research actually shows that even 30 seconds of an intentional calm can reset your nervous system. It doesn't have to be hours. It can be very small pieces throughout the day. So here are some other micro practices that you can do anywhere to help you with this practice. The first one is the 4-7-8 breath. The thing I like about 4-7-8, and I don't want you to get caught up in the numbers, because those of us that have type A personality or like to be perfect with things, we start worrying about how many numbers we're counting, and that's not the purpose. The purpose is two things. One, to force you to breathe, get air into your lungs and get air into your brain, and to count, because the counting actually resets your brain and allows you to begin to think again instead of being in this fight or flight place where we're looking for threats and looking for dangers. So the 4-7-8 breath is how that works. Is you inhale for 4 counts, you hold it for 7, you exhale for 8. You do this 3 times. I don't care how many numbers you use. I actually talk about 4-7-8, 5x5, 4x4. You'll hear it in multiple ways, and none of it matters as long as you're counting. And so you just do that 3 times, and what you'll find is it forces your body to relax. It forces your brain to come back online and pay attention to what's in front of you instead of all this chaos that's hanging around. The second one we're going to talk about is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. And so this one I really like this one a lot. Again, do not get caught up in the numbers and what they represent. The point is that we're using our senses, so to get outside of the chaos of our brain. So we're using a different part of our brain to ground us and to be able to ground us in the now and not in all this chaos that we're running around. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. You name 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, 3 things you hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. And I'm going to give you an example. So 5-4-3-2-1. I'm going to name 5 things I see. I see my water bottle. I see my lamp. I see a clock. I see my microphone. And I see my computer. 4 things you touch. I'm touching my desk. My clothes are touching me. I'm touching the floor with my feet. And I'm touching my chair. 3 things you hear. I hear the air conditioner going. I hear my voice. And I hear a buzzing over here. For some reason, it's kind of distracting. 2 things you can smell. Sometimes this gets a little harder, and it's okay if you can't smell anything, but 2 things that you can smell. So I can smell the lotion that I just put on, and I can smell the gum that I chewed earlier. And 1 thing you can taste. I taste the tea that I just finished. So it is a really interesting way to get outside of the chaos of the brain and ground yourself in the present by using your other senses and going around the chaos and around the brain that's really feeling all of the stress. So the third one we're going to talk about is the gratitude pause. This is something that you can do in the mornings, you can do it in the evenings, you can do it during lunch. I suggest people they set a timer to remind yourself to do this. The thing about gratitude is sometimes what I find with my clients is they're looking for these big, huge things they have to be grateful for. And the reality is that there are so many things to be grateful for, even when things are really, really stressful. So for example, you can be grateful for the shoes on your feet. You can be grateful for a roof over your head, for food. You can be grateful for having a job or for having a spouse with a job. You can be grateful if you've lost your job that you have money in savings. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. The health of our children. It doesn't have to be these huge things. And what I think is really important about the grateful pause is that when you name 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small, it really changes the way that your brain is perceiving the world. And we talk about this in the Joy Unleashed Project, is that your brain looks for patterns. And so if we're focused on all the negative stuff happening that we have no control over, that's where your brain's going to go. If you get grateful, that's where your brain's going to go as well. And so it's a really great way to change the way your brain is working. It changes the brain chemistry and activates your body's natural calm down mechanism by using those practices. So the other thing we're going to talk about is boundaries. And for those of you that have followed the Joy Unleashed Project, you know that I am really big on boundaries, and I'm really big on how to put boundaries in. And we actually have a podcast and another episode that talks about boundaries, and I would suggest you go listen to that if you haven't yet, because we give some really practical strategies about how to put boundaries in place. But when the world feels chaotic, we often feel like we need to absorb every piece of information and be available for everyone's needs. And that's just a recipe for burnout. So part of the boundaries is not just with other people, but with ourselves. So you want to give yourself permission to limit your news consumption to once a day from a trusted source. The thing that's really super important about that is that you're not sitting and scrolling for hours a day, because again, your brain starts looking for patterns. The other reason we do this is because if we don't understand, if our brain doesn't understand something, it tries to go gather information to fill in the holes, to make us feel better and like we have control. And the reality is it's just making us more upset, and it's just making us more stressed out. So the other thing you may want to do when things get really big in the world or in your life is just say, I can't take on anything else right now. Being able to tell people no is really, really difficult to think about. But when people ask for your help, stop and think about whether you have the energy to be doing this right now. Don't have an opinion about everything happening in the world. It's okay to tell people, I care about where you are. I know you want to talk about this right now, but I'm just not in the space to do it. They will appreciate the fact that you're being honest with you if they need to talk about that, especially if people are wanting to talk about it all the time with you and it's just really draining. What a really great way might be, you know what, maybe you need to find somebody else to talk to about this, because this isn't helpful for me. It's okay to care deeply about the people that are in your circle while still protecting your own mental health. You can't pour from an empty cup. So taking care of yourself and pouring back into that cup isn't selfish, it's self-preservation, and it's necessary. Another powerful strategy you can use is focus on your daily anchors. When everything feels uncertain, having consistent daily practices and routines gives your brain something stable to hold on to. Our brains love routines. And I know about you, but when my routine gets out of the whack in the morning, I'm kind of a mess all the rest of the day because my brain doesn't know what to expect anymore. And so what we want to do is be sure to build in and increase any routines that you have that are self-preservation routines, so that your brain has something to hold on to. Maybe it's a morning coffee ritual where you might read an extra positive phrase or a mantra or a daily devotional. Maybe it's journaling or calling a friend or texting a friend just to say, hey, I'm checking in with you. How are you doing today? This is how I'm doing today. For me, my anchors are my morning meditation, my morning coffee, my evening gratitude practice, and making sure I connect meaningfully with the people I love every single day. These are small, consistent actions that create islands of calm in the chaos. So we're going to talk about perspective, because it's really important that we understand, again, that our brain looks for patterns and changes our perspective, and it can change into a negative or a positive. But thing that we really need to remember is throughout history, humans have faced incredible challenging times. Wars, pandemics, economic collapses, social upheaval. Most of us have been through multiple ones, and yet here we are. Humanity has an incredible capacity for resilience, adaptation, and healing. This doesn't minimize the very real challenges we're facing, but it reminds us that we're stronger than we think. You come from a long line of survivors. You have that same strength in your DNA. And I want to address something specific to women in this vibrant season of life. You might be dealing with your own stress about the world while managing changing relationships, evolving roles, health transitions, career shifts. You might feel responsible for holding everything together for everyone around you. And here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to be the emotional shock absorber for everyone in your circle. You can acknowledge that things are hard and uncertain without taking on the responsibility of fixing everything for everyone else around you. You can model calm, not perfection. You can let the people in your life know that you can let the people in your life know that you take care of yourself, and that's one of the best things they can do as well. One of the greatest gifts that you can give them is telling them that you're struggling too, and you're trying to focus on what you have for mental energy so that you can not only take care of yourself, but take care of the people around you. So I'm going to share a quick story. I was working with a client who is completely overwhelmed. She was dealing with anxiety about world events, stress, health worries, and feeling like she had to be strong for everyone else. She was doom scrolling news until 2 a.m. in the morning. Not that anybody does that. Lots of us do. And she came to me saying, I feel like I'm failing everyone and I can't fix any of this. We started with the circle of influence exercise, and she realized she was spending 80% of her mental energy on things she could not control. We redirected that energy towards her inner circles. She created back up. She created weekly worry windows, 15 minutes to feel the anxiety, followed by 15 minutes of action planning for things she could actually control. And I think this is a really important piece. We don't have to just keep pushing the worry about. Give your brain some space to worry. Schedule, set your timer for 15 minutes. I'm going to sit here and worry about it for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to move on with my life and find practical strategies for dealing with the things I can control. She limited her news consumption to 15 minutes a day and replaced some of that time with activities that brought her joy. Within a month, she reported way more grounding and capable to face life. The people around her noticed too, and when she was calmer, it created space for others to feel more at ease. The world's problems didn't disappear, but she found her calm in the storm. And here's what I want you to take away from that. Your calm is not dependent on the world being calm. Your peace is not dependent on everything being okay. That's not what joy is. You can feel grounded and centered even when things around you are chaotic. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about recognizing that your inner state is your choice and your choice is your power. It's not about completely denying that there's anything bad going on and only focusing on the positive, but to give yourself space and give yourself room to worry in a way that's more controlled and not all-consuming. Before we wrap up, here are 3 action steps for this week. Practice the circle of influence exercise. Actually sit down and write down those circles and go back to that when you're feeling overwhelmed. When you notice yourself getting overwhelmed, just ask, which circle am I focusing on? And gently redirect to the ones that you can control. Choose one micro moment of calm practice and use it 3 times a day. Set one boundary around information consumption or emotional availability to other people and start small, but start somewhere. Remember, finding calm in the chaos isn't a one-time achievement. It's a daily practice. It takes practice to learn these new habits. Be patient with yourself as you build these new skills because it is going to take time and it's about progress, not perfection. So thanks for joining me today on the Joy Unleashed Project. If you're a woman navigating life's vibrant middle season and feeling overwhelmed by all the transitions, I want you to know that you're not alone. Our Flourish Collective group is open now, and it is small groups to be able to provide women the steps to take to find the calm, but to do it together so that you're not doing it on your own. You can find a link in the show notes or message me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be happy to connect with you and tell you more about that. Until next time, remember your joy is not dependent on perfect circumstances. Your peace is your choice, and you are stronger than you know. Keep unleashing your joy. Until next time.